Hello, fans, and welcome to the final edition of the Pocono Snow post-game show for the 2013 season. Hosting this show is myself, Spike Rogan, with me, the voice of Pocono Snow and the PA system, Jim Schupek. Unfortunately, the regular season ended at home with a 3-2 loss, a very thrilling end to the game that saw the Snow actually tie the game, only to ultimately lose the game moments later, all in stoppage time. Jim, your thoughts about tonight's game right off the bat? You know, early on in the first half, we went into halftime 1-1, and it seemed like there was a lot of energy once again from the Snow. Good balls on the team when they were moving them around, and really, for the most part, it was possession might have been more on the Sonic side, but as far as actual play went, we were pretty evenly matched for the most part throughout the night.
Oh, no, without a doubt. As you mentioned, Spike, I mean, I think shots were relatively even for the most part, and it seemed like the Snow was, at least in the first half, and even parts of the second half, somewhat content to go more on a counterattack, but at the same time, it worked. You know, when you have to go where your strengths are, and in that respect, I think that the team did very well to do that, and you're going up against your arch rival, the current champion, and 2 points out of first place is what Sonic was at that point, and I think, well, they still are, considering that Binghamton won, and, you know, with the win here today. So at the same time, I have to give the Snow a lot of credit for the resiliency, just coming back, and just the overall attitude of the never say die attitude. And that, a lot of that goes back to the type of players that they have on the team, the coaching staff, and really just how they bought into the system. But I mean, I looked at Jared Bennett's shot, and oh my goodness, I mean, that was just a great ball. And at the same time, he must have taken it a good, 40 yards, 30 to 40 yards along that line, you know, and just the composure to basically pull the keeper out, found the post, and fortunately hit the post just in the right spot so that it would just eke in right behind the goalkeeper. But at the same time, you know, second half, a little bit back and forth, but a little bit, like you said, more of the play going possession-wise for Sonic. And just the last couple minutes there, you know, got to give the Snow credit for coming back and tying it 2-2, and, you know, basically Sonic proved why they are the current NPSL champions, where, you know, they also possess that never say die attitude. And, you know, especially when you've won they've won 2 championships in the past couple years here, so you don't do that for nothing. You know, that's an actual you know, that's an instinct that they have, and really just demonstrated itself tonight.
Yeah, it's the Sonic drew first blood at the 18-minute mark of the game with Mestak. He got a decent goal, you know, nice quality shot, went in net. Just a few moments later, in the 24th minute, was when Jared Bennett got that goal. It was a really nice quality goal. And a little Mario Balotelli-like celebration at the end. He lifted up the jersey, had a little writing on his shirt underneath. I'm not sure why Always Me was written on it, but it was nice. And we went into halftime 1-1. Really looked like a good game to come. The 59th minute in the second half would be where Norton, Hunter Norton, I almost said Ed Norton, he went and got a goal, became a 2-1 game for the Sonic. And really, that's where it remained until stoppage time. Yeah. And once stoppage time came around, there was a lot of energy. It was getting very physical right before stoppage time as well. It was very physical. Matter of fact, there was a total of 5 yellow cards, 3 for the Snow, 2 for the Sonic. And there were a few moments in the game, there were probably other yellow cards that would have been worthy for both sides that didn't get called. So it was a very, very physical second half, absolutely. I mean, I forget the minute it was, but Chewbacca ended up leaving the game ultimately from some
one of the
physical
substitutes late in the game. I don't remember the exact minute, but yeah, he had to come off because of an injury that he had because of the play that was going on the field. So, you know, just in general, very physical match. Whenever these two teams get together, it's going to be a physical match. I mean, I didn't see any dirty play at all, and, you know, but it was overall a fun game to watch. You know, just an entertaining match overall. And, you know, I know Jerry Sheska, having coached Tommy Mustak when he used to be the coach here at ESU and Tommy used to be a player here, it had to hurt him probably a little bit to see his own former player in that respect, beat him. But at the same time, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the other thing that maybe was one of the greatest assets for this game was we had a goalkeeper change, and Mark Meny came in for the second half in place of Bob Pippage, and he had some spectacular saves in that second half. It could have been a lot worse.
Oh, yeah.
With some of there were some great shots from the strikers on Sonic, and we saw some fabulous, probably some of the best saves of the night came in the second half from Mark Meny, a new addition to the snow down the stretch here, and really impressed us, and I'm sure impressed a lot. He certainly impressed a lot of fans. They were probably more Sonic fans in the stands than Snow fans, and he got a lot of cheers just for his saves by the Sonic fans as a show of respect. So he had an absolutely great showing here for the final home game.
Oh, no, and he's a youngster, too. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how young he is, but I think he's in his either teens or early 20s, and, that bodes a lot of good things for the future, especially if he continues to play in the snow, which, we definitely would like to see that. And it's nice because, Bob Pipich playing in the first half, and he played a pretty strong first half, and going into the second half to see Mark come in and, basically he didn't allow any rebounds that I can recall at all. Everything seemed to be clean, or if it wasn't clean, it was tipped over the bar, anything along those lines, but no second shots, and that's beyond important as far as goalkeeping is concerned.
Yeah, I actually ran out of room. There's a little thing on our scorecard to list every time a goalkeeper has a save. I ran out of room for Mark in the second half of the amount of saves he had. I have 6 on there. He might have had even a few more than that. So it was a very, very, very impressive show in there because they were hitting hard against the snow down that stretch, Sonic, and he really, really had to play a great game. In the 90th minute in stoppage time, that's where all the excitement came. And we have to admit, we're very sorry, but up here in the press box, there was just a sea of orange by the net. A ball went into the net that tied the game, but we never got a good look of who actually struck it.
Yeah, kind of unsure. So one of the 11. I think we could take the keeper out of it. So one of the 10. 10. But regardless, it was a nice finish from in close. And thing is, when you have opportunities like that, you have to finish them. And the snow did that. It just, a little bit too much time left at the end of extra time. And I think that seems to be what it was. And fortunately, that, to a certain degree, seems to be the story of the snow season. They've been in every single game this year where they've basically, out of their losses, most of them have been 1-goal games. And you look at this game, here's another 1-goal loss. They've either taken leads or what have you, but playing the full 90 minutes and keeping that lead, or at least a tie, has been one of the, one of the biggest challenges of the team. But at the same time, it gives them something to build on for next season. And they still have Clarkstown at the 6th, I guess. So coming up.
Yes. And family for the Sonic would be the man who ultimately won the game for them in stoppage time. And basically, if maybe a minute after that was when the game ended. It really came down to the wire in the game. And, as you were saying, over the past few years that we've seen different snow teams. And this year, even though the record doesn't reflect it, there was a real improvement from what we've seen over the years with this team. Numerous games where we held the lead at some point or came from behind to even tie it. Impressive plays. Change takes time. Unfortunately, we didn't get the results ultimately we would hope for this team this year. But in the same, we saw some impressive developments with this team. And hopefully we can maybe see a lot of these players come back that we had late in the season, next season, as well as the coach, Jerry Seska.
Yeah, the coaching staff in general.
We were talking about this before the game today. A lot of people have pointed out that when you look at the Premier League, you have a lot of these teams who are firing and hiring like it's going out of style. Meanwhile, Manchester United's the top, brand in the Premier League because they let Alex Ferguson have a long time to develop and really build things. And that's somewhat what they need here. There's been a lot of head coaches over the few years this team has even been in existence. So it would be very helpful to maybe bring back the core of everyone from this season and see where it goes from there. I certainly feel that there were many games that we should have won and we didn't. But ultimately, it was still an improvement over seasons past.
No, without a doubt, Spike. As you mentioned, and as we said before, out of the losses this season, most of them have been 1-goal games. And in the past, they weren't all one-goal games. We'll just put it that way. And even just the development of a B team, like we talked before, we talked about Nick. We'll call him Nick T, but he played in the back today. Solid game in the back. Michael Atong was another player who played in the back today, and he's another guy who, just a solid addition from the B team, and giving some of those guys the opportunity. And for those of you who don't know a B team, it's almost like a reserve team, like a AAA to the majors sort of thing, and just giving those guys an opportunity to kind of get some meaningful minutes here. It definitely showed the passion a lot of these guys have, and that they want to play, and it helps push the A players, your major leaguers per se, and it just shows them like, hey, we want to be here, so you're going to have to step it up a notch. So I like the development in that respect too, not just the coaching development, but the player development. And we saw that also, with Mark Menny in the goal. We saw that with some of these other players who, some consistent players like Dan Snyder, Danny Drago, Xavier Rajpal, Ricardo Harvey, Jared Bennett, our goals, one of the goal scorers, Roy Thompson, Shastri Spencer, Roche Nelson, as I look down the starting lineup. But there have been some additions here that, it bodes well for the future, because a lot of these guys, hey, you never know where a job might wind up taking them, and maybe they're no longer a member of the Snow for whatever reason, but at the same time, having some of those guys who can fill those gaps in those positions, it bodes well for the future.
Absolutely. And like we've said in the past, and I'll say it again, some of these guys in the B squad were very, very passionate all year long. They really didn't get a lot of game time. Nick T was one of them. Sean Cousins didn't see any play today, but he was on the roster in uniform, and he's been coming to games all season long as a B squad member just to support the team, even though he wasn't even on the roster. So, I mean, there's a lot of passion with some of those guys, too, that really helps the A team as well, I suspect, the A team, so to speak.
Well, and like you said, Spike, not to interrupt you there, but the chemistry helps the team chemistry, I think, as well, when you have guys who they're there because they want to be there. They're there to support the other players. They're there to support their team. And regardless if I'm playing or not, I still want to be there for you guys. And that's the important thing. I think just having that type of chemistry can really help a team out, because, I mean, my general philosophy is I'd rather have 11 hardworking guys who just want to be there for each other and bust their butts off every game than have your superstar who thinks he's better than everybody else, and that's just going to ruin the chemistry of the title. Can potentially ruin the chemistry.
And early on, we did have a little bit of that issue where we had some people who felt they might have been bigger than they were on this team, and they're not around now, and things look a lot better for it.
But we'll see. We'll see where this takes us for the next step, and obviously, after Clarkstown, there won't be a post-game show, because, it's an away game, but at the same time, hopefully next year we have these post-game shows and we're talking about some of these young guys who've been brought up and who are able to do some nice things for the Snow.
Absolutely. What would you say, since really we're wrapping up the season at this point, what would you say were some of the best highlights of the season as far as the Snow? I mean, obviously the win against Bucks Montorch was a certain highlight to get the one win. No,
that definitely a highlight. I mean, some of the actually highlight when I think about it is that the 2-2 draw at Hershey had to be, one, because Hershey's being one of the better teams in a conference, and I hate to make a loss a highlight, but at the same time, the Binghamton team, you're going up against the first place team in the division, and you come close. I mean, it just shows you how close this team is to doing some nice things and doing some great things, because I know talking with the coaches, it's just one of those things where they see the light at the end of the tunnel and they see the progress the team's made, and I think it's just a matter of, hey, we're taking that next step, but let's take that final step where we can actually be that team who doesn't just come close, but we're winning those games. Like we're winning this game tonight, or at least we're getting a tie out of it, and at the same time, maybe we are scoring that third goal in extra time as opposed to having the opposition score the third goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a true nail biter at the end, and you didn't know which way it was going to go. Was it a tie? Would we win? Would they win?
Right.
It stinks that we lost, but again, we were at least in contention towards the end. I mean, it wasn't like a 4-0 blowout or anything like that. No. So I mean, it was overall an impressive change this season. It's just a shame. A longer schedule probably would have behooved this team as well, because it would give us a lot more time to develop more wins, things like that.
Well, I'm sorry. If you look at the first time we played Sonic, they scored 3. We didn't have any. So, I mean, like, just in that respect, to score 3-2 here and to really be seconds away from a draw, that shows a lot of improvement. Definitely shows a lot of improvement.
Especially since you lost it right at the end against the defending national champion.
Exactly.
This isn't just even a regional division champion. This is the national champions right now we're talking about. So, that's an impressive showing right there. I mean, it is our rivals. You have to play your rivals as hard as possible, and they certainly did today.
Oh, yeah.
But, ultimately, not the result we want, but still a good performance overall. I mean, we saw that in many other games. The Junior Lone Star game, that was a great game to watch. It was so physical.
Binghamton game up here, too, was also another one where we took a 2-0 lead, and then just some of the, like I think I call it the roller coaster of different soccer that went on there, and just different emotions the whole bit, because playing one of the best teams at home, and I'm almost speechless with regard to that game, because it wound up losing 4-2. But regardless, just staying into those games is big.
Absolutely. It's a tough way to end the season at home, and there's just one match left for the club. But still, we have some loyal fans who've come out to all the games. They follow us on the internet religiously, and we certainly are very thankful for that. Our post-game shows get a decent amount of hits on YouTube. Obviously we're not going to have English Premier League or MLS sort of numbers on our post-game show, but for what we are, and really, to be frank, we have a lack of exposure compared to Sonic, who has a TV package in their home market. We still have a good following for what we have to work with, and we appreciate the fans, and really we want the fans to just know, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't do this without you guys. And we absolutely appreciate everyone who's helped put everything together. So let's we'll end it there for as far as the post-game show goes. And just to kind of end the post-game show here, this is the motley crew that has been in the press box all season long. Yeah. Tyler is our intern here from ESU.
You might have seen me post on Facebook and Twitter and all that. So
obviously everyone knows Jim. And this is Tim. Tim, say your last name because you didn't get a proper credit when you worked the camera last post-game show.
Grappe.
Okay, so... and Matt, unfortunately, is away and couldn't be part of this here, but he's been in the press box with us all season long.
Shout out to Matt Catrillo.
Yeah, and so certainly, this we are the people who make all of this stuff happen behind the scenes. And again, we just would like to especially thank all the fans for their support this season, their encouragement, and again, without you, the fans, we wouldn't be here. So that's going to wrap it up for the post-game show. I'm Spike Rogan,
Jim Shupak,
Tyler Wannschlager,
and Tim Grappe.
Go Snow, and have a good summer, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.